Hey, Flop.
Hey, what's up?
So for the second photo results of phone DNA scan,
Let me take a
I
look.
can't tell whose DNA that is
Let me see.
without looking at people's state IDs numbers.
Which? Oh, oh, okay. Hold on. For the phone?
Yeah. Results of phone DNA scan 13301. That's the photo I'm looking at. Should be the 8th piece of evidence down.
Yes. Okay. So the phone DNA is not matching to hers.
Okay, so that's not her phone, even though she does say her phone was taken, right?
Yeah, I tried to look for it. We had officers look around for it. We couldn't find it, but
No worries, no worries.
I still think the fact that her phone was missing and in a search showed that her phone was missing was already telling enough. If I could have found the phone, that would have been different, but
yep.
Is there any way to find out if her phone's been recovered in relation to something else?
no, unfortunately not. It's really hard. So we're still learning about these phone subpoenas and learning how phones are supposed to work. It's very hard.
So I will tell you this new knowledge that we gained during a recent case with Crane presiding over it. If you want somebody's phone records in the sense of how to say this, you can request of the state to tell you the phone numbers of an individual that has a certain state ID, so it's tied to your state ID.
Okay.
But I think they would still have to recover the SIM in order to tie it back to her. But they can see, we can see that she, had that SIM, but that's not necessarily in debate. It's more in debate of what happened to it after.
Yeah, that is the question there. But
because she did consent to a 24-hour phone search of her records, so
my only question of it is like, is there a way for the state to get you access to the phone records without having to have the physical evidence? But that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, I will say I did get the phone subpoena. I won't lie if I said that I didn't lose it in my emails because it took a fucking week for IT to pull it, which is okay. I'm not upset about that. But I did lose it. I'm in the process of still looking at my emails for it. I will find it though. Mark my fucking word. The only thing that I will say is she consented, and when I talked to the judge about it, she did tell me that even though you don't have the number, you have the state ID attached to it, and we're able to pull that. So I was able to get her to pull the old phone number as well.
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
You know what would be like a whoa
right, so
moment is if you write your number.
I see this statement from Bobby Charles. I
wish I was there. I hate his statement.
When does any Bobby Charles statement actually, make sense?
Fair.
We're talking about someone who had a gun planted on her, or what I think was a gun planted on her, and his statement is about his tummy hurting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
my thing about this is like, because I've heard some things about this prior to
I've seen
anything,
the art.
right?
I've seen Beef's art. It's so good.
Because somebody had a big mouth, he kind of just, blabbed a little bit.
Bobby.
Oh no. Well, no. That too, but no, the betrayer.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he
yes.
So here's my biggest thing. Was it only her blood on the scene where she was found?
Yeah. So it was only her blood on scene. And it's so hard. I just talked to Captain Slacks about it. I said, do we still have discretion in the PD? And he said, yeah. And I told him, I said, I have been pushing this off because I don't know what the fuck to do with it. As you guys know, I came off the Murphy Brown case and immediately into the hands of this.
Right.
Yeah.
The way that I read this, and the reason why that I have a lot of hesitation with it, is that she claims she shot into the mountainside, and she said she shot high so that it wouldn't hit anybody. She didn't want to hit anybody. So when she shot the mountainside, that was the end of it. I had Barrett go and check and actually found that casing. I'm like, okay, that lines up. She has a stab wound. Okay, so that tells me that there was something very close and personal. We have that 911 that came through stating, hold on, let me find the 911. Give me a second. Photo 911, stand by. An anonymous 911 stating that they got into an altercation, things got heated. She shot him and he stabbed her and drove off. Well, there was no other blood on scene.
Yeah, well, she clearly didn't shoot anybody.
She didn't shoot him.
Yeah.
So now that leaves me with this weird spot.
And also, that individual should have stayed on scene is the biggest thing.
Yeah, should have stayed on scene. No one stayed on scene. Didn't follow stand your ground. According to
just like that, I appear.
Okay, this is not the time. This is not the time, Duncan. Hello.
I'm attaching to you while I wait for Declan.
No, you can't.
Sorry.
No.
You can't be here. Sorry, Duncan.
Where did you come? I love you. I love you. Trust me. I love you.
Declan might be able to fix my scout, so I clocked on.
Why? This doesn't pertain to what's going on right now, Duncan.
No. What I'm saying is I clocked on. I'm like, I might as well wait for Declan to finish his active, so I'm attached to Flop, and he's right across the street.
Right. I'm okay with you stepping in a few minutes. But
why is it so secretive? This is police work, right?
Yes, but there's. I'm gonna be honest with you, Duncan. I have strong opinions about this case that I want to keep to prosecutors for a minute. And I don't care if you step in after, but I just need a couple minutes.
You know, I'm not a court cop, right? Nothing what you say is gonna make me, have any opinion one way or the other.
I know, but we're
I get it. You don't want me around. You all right? I will fuck myself.
It's not. It's Jesus Christ, Duncan.
God damn it, Duncan.
The man's so emotional. I'm very strong put on this case. I haven't talked to anyone about this fucking case.
No, it's understandable.
Okay, so without watching the interrogations, because it looks like you said there's 4 to 6 hours of interrogation here.
No.
It's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes.
Oh, it's 20 minutes.
The 4 to 6 hours was she claimed that one of the individuals fell out of the back of the truck on the highway. She didn't know where. She said it was probably near like Los Santos Freeway, Palomino. And I found like 4 sets of fucking blood in that area. So that doesn't help me.
All right. So where was she taken from? It talks about she got a call about having a meeting.
City Hall.
But,
yeah, she says City Hall here in the first few minutes of the interrogation. It's like I'm watching them as we speak, and it's like the way that she's explained things. I haven't really watched read fully the statements yet, but like from the way that she's speaking, it kind of lines up that she has been taken hostage, and everything in these photos is kind of lining up with that. And the fact that there's no blood on the scene is like, you would think there would be, the person would stay there if they had been, shot and shit to get treated.
Yeah.
It does seem very sus that they say that they saw her shoot somebody, but there's nothing at that scene. The only ballistics are at the canyon where she says she was, versus this 911 anonymous call. Also, did you guys ever find any other items of Charlotte's on anybody in any other arrests?
No, not that. So not that I'm particularly aware of.
Okay.
What I do know, and I can tell you this much, we have a report that went out where I forget this the gun came back to whose is this? Hold on.
It says it's Charlotte's spades.
Charlotte's. Okay. So we have a bolo that went out about a month ago to the day. We're 2 days to the exact month ago, where there is a bolo of a man wearing dark clothing with a dark colored beanie, knitted hat, and dark colored face mask, described as having a deep voice. Anita May's gun was found. Charlotte Spade's gun was found. We have 4 other officers whose guns are still missing, but it was in the span of 1 day that officers were having their guns stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So the bolo of whose it is does not match Abilene. Doesn't mean that a transfer could have happened, right? That could easily be argued in court that a transfer of gun could have happened. Can't really argue that, but it's very apparent to me that based on this bolo that went out, this happened in a span of events where people had their guns stolen and a group of officers were forced to jump off of a bridge after their stuff was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second here. I'm listening to this one part of
No, you're good.
Thing here.
Because, I mean, she cooperated fully. She let you guys raid her house. Nothing was found. She obviously doesn't match the description of the person who took the gun in the first place. She has no criminal record.
I really want to get a slice of pizza, but my God, I need someone to hold me back.
So as far as, while
Dude.
technically being in possession of it is enough on its own based on the ruling in the Mr. K case, I do think that, her coming forward with everything, her cooperating, her not having anything else that belongs to any officers.
So good.
Things like that. Also, to be fair, I do recall that she helped the prosecution in the Mr. K case. So that also kind of gives somebody a motive to fuck with her.
When did she do that?
She was paralegaling for whoever was on that case.
Yeah, she was helping. She was asking questions and everything.
Yep.
When was the Mr. K case? Let me look on the docket.
I can look real quick. I got it right here. It was, if I can properly go through things, the 24th of February.
So
That's when
24 hours after that?
Oh, no. The case ended on, actually, wait, no. It was February 24th when it was also done.
Okay, so if this was the 28th, so then 4 days later.
4 days later, this happens to Abilene.
Yeah, and
were there any threats in court? Do you know?
I want to say there were, but I can't remember 100%.
Whoever the officers were at that court case, I would get their recount of it if they can remember. I've heard that there were statements made, but I personally cannot account to them. I just know that people said there were statements.
Oh boy. Okay.
Plus, also, I mean, with the Murphy Braun thing, wasn't he also kidnapped before that? And then for some reason, the kidnapping wasn't connected to the gun being found on him.
Yeah.
That's how he got found guilty in the first place. And then it was appealed, and they said, hey, this important information was left out, and that's how he got exonerated, right?
No. So the TLDR, he was found with the gun. questioned him. He couldn't remember anything. We had no recount of literally anything. He was unable to provide any information, respectfully speaking, to assess. We asked him where he was, what he was doing. I don't know. Okay. Had a 911 earlier of someone being kidnapped. We questioned everybody on the scene. Everybody was high. Everybody was drunk. Everybody was, and not literally. They just claimed that, they essentially claimed ignorance. And no one was able to actually prove or state that it was Murphy Braun who was kidnapped. So we had no evidence to instill the doubt side. So we had to pursue the charge. After the court case was over, he lost his shit. That night, they put it up on the docket as an appeal. He starts going to therapy. He starts remembering things. And the day after the appeal, John Paul comes forward and goes, oh, yeah, I planted that shit and I did that shit.
So here's the question. Are you guys instantly pushing the possession of a fire or government firearm as soon as you find somebody with it, not checking? Like, if the individual is, found in an area, there's no blood in the area, it's just shots fired, where you just, pushing that instantly because they have it on them?
Before the Murphy Braun case, yes. After the Murphy Braun case, I won't speak for everyone, but for me personally, fuck no. Between the three of us, respectfully speaking, I'm gonna take the professionalism and put it off to the side for a minute. I don't want to waste my life in a month-long trial where an appeal process is to just throw the case out with no chance of being able to prosecute anybody coming forward with new evidence. That was a waste of my time. I'm glad Murphy Braun was found innocent. I didn't feel like going back to court to contest. I was just going to drop it and move on due to other limitations that happened with the Murphy Braun case at that time. And I'll be honest, I don't want to go through this whole case has so many similarities to the Murphy Braun situation.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is that I'm gonna be dead ass with you here when I say this. This woman had no money, so how in the fuck would she have got this gun is the biggest thing for me. And she don't look like, you know what? Could be a sheep in wolf's clothing kind of statement that I'm about to make, but she can't do shit with a weapon. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, personal feelings aside, the people's witnesses for the Mr. K case that day were Slacks, Vivian Gray, Gregory Johnson. Svensson also got called, but he FTA'd, so you can't ask him. But those three you could ask about if there were any threats that they recall.
Well, Johnson got fired.
Right.
His statement
also, on February 18th, Contralto officially entered the docket as a paralegal entering for the prosecution under Oliver Hall. So she was definitely tied to that as of the 18th, and I do recall her asking questions in court.
Okay.
I'm like trying to go through this.
And
with a
Judge Jackson, Henry Jerome Jackson was the, or Jerome Henry Jackson. I always mix those two names up. Jackson was the judge that presided over that case.
Currently in ICU from statements that I have heard from Contralto and somebody else. Who the fuck was it? One of the other paralegals said that he was in the goddamn ICU. I don't know if he still is there or not.
And then isn't this case also related to, or the Mr. K case, wasn't that verdict related to Rami losing his bar license for helping Mr. K escape police custody or something like that?
No, I think this Mr. K case was, this Mr. K case was,
there's a lot going on with this case. Holy shit, man.
Him being found in possession of a police weapon. Give me 1 second. Let me check this
right,
again.
but he was found guilty, so then they took him to prison, and then I thought that somebody broke him out in front of the PD and like kidnapped 3 cops or something.
hold on.
Is that not the same day?
I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
What the Mr. K case? What was he being charged with?
Possession of a government-issued firearm.
Yep.
Okay.
And I remember in court, it was, they were trying to do, their defense was that it was planted on him.
Yep.
And
okay.
The judge ruled that, regardless of, whether or not it was planted, which he said that they didn't, necessarily provide enough proof, affirmative defense that it was planted. He said, regardless of whether or not it was planted, he was found in possession of it, which matches the letter of the law, and therefore he was guilty. So I don't remember exactly, but I feel like somebody either in his group, not necessarily Mr. K, but I feel like somebody at some point after the verdict said something to the effect of, so anybody found with a gun is going to get this charge and be found guilty no matter what.
Okay, well that actually opens up a lot of personal opinion, because Mr. Murphy Braun presided over a John Paul case about the possession of a PD-issued firearm, and not 48 hours later, Murphy Braun is found with a PD-issued firearm.
And later, John Paul takes credit for planting.
And then later, John Paul took fucking credit for planting it, and wanted to quote unquote clear his guilty conscience.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I could definitely see Mr. K and or his friends, doing some sort of, oh, well, if, anybody who has one on them is going to be found guilty regardless of situation, then, here's a chance to, fuck up the lawyers that, fucked us up or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with this whole case that you guys see why I'm like so hesitant about taking this to court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have here's the bad part on what I'm gonna say is, if you don't take it to court, you're gonna have the public be like, oh well, there's special treatment for lawyers or some shit like that, right? Even though she is not a lawyer, she is a legal aid.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be like, oh well, she's a regular citizen. Well, Mr. K was a regular citizen. Murphy Braun was a judge, and they still got charged with it. So why is she getting away with it? That's what they're probably gonna say. People that feel like that way, but I feel like the only people that are gonna feel that way are fucking criminals. The people that are most likely to have these weapons and whatnot actually on them are those that do the crimes. I do have personal feelings, but I'm trying to put those aside on this.
I do too, to be fair.
Same. But I mean, just looking at it, from a strict point of view, I definitely feel like, and I didn't really see the Murphy case exactly, so I don't specifically know, what kind of testimony, et cetera, came up there. But I really do feel like with the way you guys processed the scene, with the way that she cooperated, all of those things, I think that it's going to be easier for a defense to say that, she was kidnapped, it was planted on her, et cetera, than, maybe other cases were. Because I know that that's what they were going for in the Mr. K case, that it was planted on him, but they didn't really have, any sort of like a kidnapping or anything that happened. Basically, their thing was the officers that approached them in the car had to have been the ones that planted it, because they didn't say anything about him getting kidnapped or having the opportunity to have anything planted on him previously. Whereas she's got this whole, kidnapping thing. She's got the missing phone. She's got, her story lining up with where she fired the gun.
She never shot anyone. The faulty 911.
So
yeah,
but
exactly.
when this, I'm going to say this: if this was to go to court, though, I'm going to be honest. It's going to depend on the judge. Most of the judges, as we have come to find out, are straight up letter of the law. There is no spirit in the sense. Some of them will look at it with a little bit of spirit, but You know, she is, by the way the law is written, in constructive possession of it. But the thing is, there's all these issues with it, you know. But the thing is like you could do all this defense, say that she did like all of her statements lined up. The judge is most likely still going to look at it and find her guilty of it and sentence her with that charge, which is the worst fucking charge you can get right now, besides fucking saying some words and getting adoption fraud. But
it's so insane to me. Because I straight up just asked Slacks before calling you, Grace, and I said, Slacks, can I ask you a question? He goes, what's up? I said, do we still have discretion as officers? Because to the letter of the law, sure, to press a charge. The issue with this is that this is going to ruin someone's life.
Yeah.
This is a charge that is going to ruin someone's life. Now, I forget what the previous statutes for the charge were, but I don't believe, I mean, I could be wrong. Was Kay charged with the $100,000?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe so.
That is a lot of money. And
in this economy, yes.
That is a lot of money. And
I mean, she already doesn't get paid being a paralegal. I've seen her doing towing. I've seen her go hunting. I've seen her working at Senior Buns. The woman is not a menace to society. She doesn't really have any money. This is, you know, if she were to get charged that fine, she would be so far in the hole, she would never be able to come out.
And she has the squeakiest clean fucking record, too.
It bothers me to think that I need to come up with a decision on this in 4 days. Now, the other question, too, is, am I operating in bad faith to take it to court and look at a judge and say, can this be here in court today? Yes. Should we be here in court today? No.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's bad faith. I don't know if that is bad use of our DOJ. And that's why I'm so hesitant on this, is because of all these little prongs of confusion that do not make sense. It's hard for me to believe that she illegally had possession of this firearm. Did she possess it? Sure. Letter of the law? Sure. But
I mean, it begs the question, how did she obtain it if she doesn't have any money? And, you know, that would be a hot commodity. There's no way anybody's just going to give that to her for shits and giggles, or because they think she's really neato, you know?
Yeah. I mean, John Paul, a couple days later, admitted to planting a PD-issued firearm on Murphy Braun, exonerating him.
Ooh, and there is a difference here in her case and Mr. K case that I'm seeing, though. She's GSR positive. He's GSR negative.
Murphy Braun case?
No, the Mr. K.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. K was found GSR negative when gunshots were in the area. And, you know, Abilene was found GSR positive, but along with that stab wound to the neck.
Plus, there's plausibility for her shooting that gun because they found the casing right where she said it would be.
Yeah.
Whereas Mr. K, even if he didn't fire it, he was involved in a situation where other people were firing, and it's for officer safety that everybody involved is, GSR tested, searched for weapons afterwards. So even though he didn't fire it, he was involved in a criminal situation, and that's how the gun was found.
I wish I could see what Rami Al Rahim's statement was during this case, because he was also on it at the time as he was a lawyer at the time, and so he had a statement, but the statement is not in the report. So, oh wait, is it here?
The statement is in the docket. February
I can't
17th,
wait for all the hoppers, dude. I feel like this isn't going to court.
The following is the statement collected from Mr. El Rahman. Initial Rami statement: while we were in the area, a group arrived on 2 motorcycles and in another car, attempting to kidnap me and Mr. K. They shot Mr. K and forced him into a red Tesla. Subsequently, Yeager and several others arrived on motorcycles, further escalating the situation by trying to take me hostage.
God, so much fucked up shit here. In all honesty, it's.
But yeah, I would say talk to Slacks and Vivian and see if they remember anyone making any threats. I would say ask the judge if you weren't in ICU. I would also say ask Oliver Hall. Obviously, Contralto wouldn't necessarily be a reliable witness to ask, but if other people remember there being threats, then you could ask her as well. But I wouldn't just rely on her statement of that. But yeah, if the others, if the officers, sworn officers of the law say, yeah, we heard that there were threats, we heard the threats, this is what was said, and get Mr. Hall to, say if he heard any as well, then if you then ask her about it and she remembers and her remembrance agrees with what the others said, that makes it credible versus just going to her and having her be like, oh yeah, I remember that now, But if the others can remember that too, then I think that could, help with an affirmative defense if she needed it. That 4 days after this, verdict was delivered, uh, this case that she was on, all of a sudden, boom, paralegal gets found with a gun.
Yeah, I really feel like the shit that happened after that case, like you said, a couple days. When was that day that you said that officers were being robbed of their firearms? When was that?
Let's see. That's a good question.
That was between the 24th and the 28th. Then that lends some credence here.
Well, it's the 26th.
Oh God!
There you go.
Okay, so
there you go.
It's
Yeah,
so many issues.
This is getting bad.
This is getting bad. This is getting real bad right now, Slacks.
So yeah, to my recollection, things were said about, so anybody found with a PD gun is automatically going to be found guilty for this. But I don't have the world's best memory, so I would want you to check with some other people. But I do recall hearing that. But I definitely think that you should not just rely on my memory for that. You should ask some other people as well.
I'll tell you what.
Ask Slacks to fucking put a statement in too.
I'm gonna call Slacks right now. Here, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Howdy, Flop.
Hey, Cap. Talking with both Grace and Roman right now.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything the day of Abilene? I have in there that I needed your statement for that, and I noticed you didn't put yours. I don't know if you have any recollection.
I did not respond, right? So what happened, remember, I had to do with Jordan's kidnapping. The dispatcher?
Yeah.
So that's why I delegated to you.
No, that's fine.
I came in afterwards with Mateo looking for the phone at the city hall. That's what I helped out with.
Okay. I could probably just rely on Mateo's statement for that then.
Yeah, I mean, he found it. I looked around. I didn't find anything in the garage. He found the phone, and then we went back to Mission PD.
Okay. Okay. So we are having a little bit of a connection right now from the Murphy Braun case, and I wanted to ask you a question. There is a relation. So Murphy Braun case, a couple days after he presided over that, he was found with a PD firearm. A couple days after Abilene was assisting with, I guess, a case involving Mr. K and a PD issued firearm. Apparently, a few days later, she was found with one. So the question that we're asking right now to try and approve an affirmative defense is, do you remember any threats being made in court for the case involving Mr. K after?
Oh, yeah. I mean, K went off like a volcano after that court case. He said, fuck the PD, fuck y'all, fuck the city council, and fuck the DOJ.
Okay. That actually helps out a lot. Do you remember anything quoted or anything, I guess, in specific regard?
This was like a month ago, roughly, so.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Hey, follow me.
All right. I'm going to say that's good enough for me right now. If you remember anything in particular, could you just text it to me?
Yes. I can even give you like the paraphrase of what I remember from that, because I was there with Abilene. She was one of my prosecutors, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if I remember something, I'll write down.
Okay. Yeah, that works for me. I'll go back and talk with Grace and Roman, and I'll let them know about that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no mention of that whose PD weapon it was that was on Mr. K.
All right, so I have a little bit of something, a little bit. It's
Okay.
not really like super grounded, but I asked, I said, do you remember anything being said in court? And Slack said, oh, hell yeah. As soon as it happened, he said, fuck the DOJ, fuck the PD, fuck everyone. So he didn't make any direct threats, but he did absolutely just say, fuck the system, essentially.
Is that, well, that'd be just statements then.
That's what I'm saying. It's not grounded, but there is a very strict set. I'll even text Slack so he's aware.
I wanna ask. Let me look at the case on what officers were at Mr. K's case, because I'm gonna be honest. With some interactions with Slacks, he doesn't remember shit. I'm gonna be very honest.
Yeah, it was Slacks, Gray, and then Johnson, who's no longer with the force. Those were the ones that testified that day in court, according to the witness list. Because Barry Svensson was also called, but it says later that he got charged with FTA. So.
Well, it doesn't just have to be those officers. It could be anybody that was there.
True.
Siobhan, we could even question Siobhan, in all honesty, on this, because Siobhan was his. Well, actually, no, might not be able to.
I don't remember. Was she there in court that day?
She was the one doing the case for him. So
that was before she took her LOA.
That was before she took her LOA. So it's her, Gregory Johnson. We can get a hold of, most likely, to ask. Anita May. Anybody that was there. Can't ask the judge because guess what, Judge ICU, which is the worst fucking part of it.
Hold on. I'm curious about something now.
Jerome.
Who were all the officers that were on scene?
On scene of which one? K?
Yeah.
Svensson, May, Gray, Slacks. Gray mentions Lovesick, but I guess he quit by then. So afterwards for the trial, because I don't remember him testifying. He may have been there in the courtroom though. But yeah, Vivian Gray, Lucas Lovesick, Barry Svensson, Anita May have statements. Slacks has a statement.
I will say that, not that this actually means anything. This is, if anything, circumstantial. But Anita May and Vivian Gray are two officers on that list who were robbed.
Oh, God.
Not that that means anything, but
Circumstances are building up.
yeah.
The amount of the. Was there when did the thing happen with Jerome? I know you can't disclose, but I would look that up real quick.
Jerome
Henry Jackson.
What's the charge?
Oh no, not a charge.
He was the victim.
Shot.
He's the judge in the ICU.
He is the judge that was
We're
presiding.
curious if there's an incident and how he ended up there.
And how far after this date was he shot?
How do you spell his name?
Jerome.
Yep.
Henry.
What is it again?
Jackson.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Jerome. Jerome.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Jerome.
Henry Jackson.
Okay, hold on.
I mean, unless they didn't make a report of this, I don't know, because supposedly a judge was in.
I don't see anything. How long has he been in the ICU?
2 weeks, 3, maybe longer.
All I know is it's sometime after he ruled on this case because he was there to rule on this case. So
When was Siobhan's wedding? Anybody remember that? Either of you?
I can look on my phone.
A couple weeks ago, but
it was around that time, I think. A couple days after that is when I heard it from Abilene and somebody else. Because I think at the time Abilene was Jerome Henry Jackson's personal assistant.
There is nothing about his ICU. I will disclose that much, but that's about it.
Yeah, don't.
I didn't even know he was in the ICU, to be fair.
Yeah, I learned kind of from Abilene and the fact that also she removed her assistant for Jerome Henry Jackson from her Yellow Pages too. I asked about that.
Honey, you got emailed Siobhan's wedding announcement.
Oh, I got it sent to my phone. Hold up.
Yeah. You should have exactly the date. Because I'm trying to go through our text messages, honey, and we just have way too many.
Let me see.
I would assume you don't have that many from Siobhan, so it'll be faster.
Oh man.
Okay, let me try and do some math here real quick. So that is.
Well, it doesn't say what day of the wedding is on the announcement.
It was the 29th.
He's been in the ICU since the 29th?
Apparently. So 24th, 26th, 28th, 29th.
Okay. By the way, Slack's statement is not going to be needed. He assisted Mateo in searching for the phone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be very honest from a legal standpoint. In my opinion, a lot of things adding up right here.
I don't care to take the backlash if it meant not going to court, but this is why I've been so hesitant. And honestly, the uncovering of understanding, I didn't realize Kay got charged a bunch of shit involving a PD firearm till now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Check the docket every now and then when you have some free time, and see what people are getting charged, because it's an eye opener for shit.
Yeah,
especially when things start happening.
But yeah, I would say that, letter of the law, yes, you could push the spirit of the law. I wouldn't push it. Probative value of pushing it, I don't really see it, because I don't think there's going to be anything gained other than throwing somebody in prison. I don't think arresting her for this is going to keep, guns off the street. I don't think this is going to curtail anything, because I don't feel like she's, a criminal mastermind.
And okay, so since then also Abilene has not, committed any form of crime. She's super squeaky clean. Typically,
and also she hasn't talked about this with anybody, to my knowledge, because we found out about it from Xavier.
Yep.
Not from her.
Yeah, Xavier told us quite a bit of this.
Thank you, Sunflower. I appreciate you. How you doing? Thank you. I appreciate it. Beef, welcome. Thank you, Sunflower.
But besides that point, it's gonna be hard for her to defend herself, based off of the fact that most judges are straight up letter of the law currently. You do have some that are, spirit, and they do look at things, but at the same time, most of them are like, this is the charge, you were found with it, this is what you get.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be very much a ruling of possession is 9/10 of the law. You were found in possession, your life is over, go fuck yourself. And I don't see any probative value, benefit to society by throwing the book at her.
I feel like, in a way, this needs to be kind of brought up to the council also about the criminal possession in a way, but at the same time, I don't think they will.
Moab, what's going on? Thank you so much. I appreciate the advance. Can we get some hearts and chat,
change
please? Thank
anything
you. Thank you.
on it. I feel like it should be looked at because, just having officers push that charge as soon as they see it without any,
I'm gonna say what no one wants to say. I'm not here to be a fucking robot, right?
no.
Gun mean charge. No, there's so much more to my job that I feel like I have the discretion to do. And it annoys me that the narrative of the idea that, oh, you gotta push it, you gotta go, is so childish and stupid to me on a charge that could ruin someone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're one of the most likely to work with cops that I've seen around in a while. Most of the officers that me and Grace and other lawyers have had to deal with are, no, this is the charge they get. We can push this because we can. Like in regards to.
Did you hear about the whole shit with the accomplice to reckless evading flop?
No, what's going on with that?
So Watt and Blackwell decided that they were going to charge Dahlia Faye with accomplice to reckless evading because she willingly got in the car with somebody who was recklessly evading, even though the charge specifically says they have to be operating the vehicle, and she was never in operation of the vehicle. Gatsby then went ahead at the appeal and found her guilty of that because she voluntarily got in the car. And then the very next day, that charge is removed from the system. It's all swept under the rug, though. It's removed from the system. Gatsby's ruling is still up, but the charge has been removed from Dahlia Faye's record.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of...
Let me take this real quick and move one. Oh, nope,
Yeah,
she hung up. Never mind. Go ahead.
I might accidentally punch somebody. No, okay, good. I'm good. A lot of the officers currently, like, I want to bring this up with more of the new chief and ash chief. Like a lot of the officers still are not, willing to work with the lawyers at all. They are more along the lines of, this is the charge. Here you go. Deal with it. Fuck you. And most of the time, if we take it to court, the judges, like in Gatsby's case, uphold it because they think that that's what it is. It's written in the charges. That's what they get. Like, how the fuck do you get accomplice to reckless evading? You cannot get that. Even in the old system of PD, we had Jenny Hall, we had Lovesick, we had two other active officers, I think, at that court case that said, yeah, that's not a charge. And the judge is like, no, it is a charge. It's in the MDT. I'm like, what the fuck?
But it doesn't make any sense because how can you be an accomplice if you're not the driver? You don't know getting into that car how someone else
You held hands with the driver while they were driving. You reached over from the passenger seat, held one hand on the steering wheel. You bent over to hit the brakes. I don't know.
That is such a stretch, and even you flop.
I don't find it so insane to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something else, and there are a lot of charges that have been removed now that you can see that they don't have accomplice and shit to it because of this. But it's currently a shit situation. Also, still in the DOJ because we don't have that many judges that are kind of typically around. You only see you see some judges around every now and then. Murphy is the most often around judge now. Everybody else, I think, has had some. I know some are busy and have issues that they have to deal with, but we are in desperate need of judges.
Yeah,
Um,
So
I
yeah,
don't doubt that.
the criminal possession of a government-issued firearm, all it says is it is illegal to possess a government-owned or issued firearm. So for this one, you're guilty if they find it on you, regardless of anything else, according to the letter of the law. So that kind of fucks up for anybody who actually is, set up for it. And it makes a hell of a way to get back at your enemies.
yeah. Take a minute and I know you. I think it's your allergies bothering you. And I can
Yeah, I know I
tell.
sound like shit right now. I know.
No,
No. I'm not. You're good. Just take a minute and do whatever you need. Don't try and force words out.
I'm getting a little note on top of this report for myself. I spoke with prosecutions for a proper determination up to this point. So right now I have bulleted anonymous 911 stated Abilene shot a guy. No blood on scene. Projectile found where she stated it was.
No individual on scene either.
Yeah, the man that the people claimed she shot wasn't found on scene either.
Mm-hmm. One set of DNA on scene was Abilene's blood. Abilene was also stabbed on scene. What else am I missing from this? Consented to, I guess, literally everything. Raid, subpoena, DNA.
Found nothing from those from what I'm reading.
And obviously she doesn't match the description of the person who stole the weapons. So she would either need to have been given it or bought it. And I mean, you could request her financials and, look at her income, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't have time in this city to do any non-legal jobs because between the jobs she needs to make money and doing the paralegal stuff she doesn't get paid for. I don't see her having any money to buy an illegal firearm.
Especially a cop one, which is like, I'm gonna be honest, like between possession of a government issued firearm, if you found with it, you fucked. Just like if I was to call somebody my daughter or son or granddaughter or grandson, even though the state doesn't technically recognize that, it's like, oh yeah, $60,000 out of your bank account, yoink, that's ours. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it should be $60,000. It's just fucking words. What the fuck is the gain in it? Like, what fraud is, like, you have to have a gain.
Yeah, anytime anybody talks to me about the adoption fraud fine and how it's perfectly acceptable amount, you could do multiple acts of torture on somebody for the cost of that fraud.
Trying to look at what else that we've been talking about here.
Yeah, you could do more. You can do over 10 acts of torture for the same amount as adoption fraud.
Yep. Also, the one thing we were talking about that you stated was that who was it? Barrick, you said, found the casing in the mountainside where her statement lined up. From what I remember you saying.
Yeah, so let me actually note that down real quick.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember things that we have said.
You can commit 6 robbery of a financial institutions for the cost of 1 adoption fraud.
Barrick found projectile
it is what it
matching.
is.
I know. It just astounds me though that they think it's that important.
Yep.
I mean, you can rob 2 civilians of their firearms and save yourself $10K over adoption fraud.
Relations and timeline between Mr. K and Abilene based on
match. God, takes a second to update, huh? I like how it cuts off right there.
$2879.
Relations and timeline between Mr. K case and Abilene based on charge. Yep.
Is there anything there that's missing? I'm so glad you can see the updates on this.
I have to like back out and come back in to see it.
It's all good.
Did you remove the barrack one? I saw it for a second.
It's in the first bullet point. Anon stated 911 stated Abilene shot a guy. No blood on scene. Projectile found where she stated it was.
Okay. Never mind. You moved it up there. Trying to think of the other things we've talked about. Trying to think. I wish I could have added those. She worked with you. No DNA stabbed. Consented. Reported the sealed gun. Relations. I mean, that's pretty good notes right there, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I'm just going over anything else again.
But I am curious. In your opinion, both of your opinions, would you we'll say in good faith, would you charge Abilene and take this to court?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
The only reason why the reason why I wouldn't is because so many things are adding up that kind of look in a certain way on things that possibly could be tied together. I mean, 24th, 26th, 28th, 29th. All those days are literally within the span of a week. And you then said also 2 of the officers that had their weapons, stolen from them were involved in the Mr. K case. It's a stretch to make that assumption, right? But
I think it creates enough reasonable doubt that, if you're going just by letter of the law, yes, it was found on her body, therefore she would be guilty. However, I think a reasonable person presiding over this would see these aspects from the defense and be like, yeah, this isn't, this isn't somebody, going out there, stealing guns from police and doing shit,
I mean, you have made a lot of valid points here that kind of point that this is not somebody that would have this kind of weapon on them. This individual doesn't seem like that person. The investigation that you've done, everything that she has stated has lined up for you. I mean, to have the things that she has stated line up when we know most of the times shit doesn't line up when people tell you it is one of the biggest green flags in my sense that the biggest green flag that is this is like somebody telling you the truth. You found the blood on the highway from when she said it in the
problem with the blood is that it's that is sort of circumstantial because there were so many different types of blood, but I collected all of them. The blood I kind of, because of the timeline, it's sort of 4 to 6 hours is a long time after she's apprehended. That could have, I feel like there comes a point where the blood becomes kind of null and void. I don't think a judge would really take that as good evidence.
Yeah.
Alone, no, but with the other things, it fits. Why wouldn't the blood be where she said it was if the bullet was where she said it was,
Yeah.
So yeah, alone, yeah, it'd be shaky as hell, but compared with everything else, I definitely think it should be weighed in.
Let me read over these statements just again.
Plus, I mean, if you're gonna take the risk